Welcome back everyone to the Spearhead cast with me, Matt. We have a 2v2 on the Western Front, and this is the first game I'm casting of the next patch of Spearhead 2. I know it's a little bit late, but I did have a backlog to get through. Anyway, we now have like a tier system where we can actually see the tiers of the buildings, which is a nice little thing. Anyway, we have Captain Airstrike representing the United States of America with no commander yet. We have Professor as Royal Tank Regiment with Anvil specialization for the United Kingdom. We have Eugen as Strafdivision for the Wehrmacht. And Robertus as Jäger Tactics for the Waffen-SS. This should be an interesting one. Now there should be a visual change here that I think people might notice. And it is that these Volksgrenadiers now arrive entirely equipped with Sturmgewehrs. Do note this is entirely visual. It actually does not increase their stats above their Kar-98s. It just looks like they're more assault-oriented, which technically late in the war the Volksgrenadiers kind of were. Although I'm not sure how many Sturmgewehrs they had access to. The idea was that the Volksgrenadier regiments would be armed with a lot more automatic weaponry compared to Grenadiers. So it kind of makes sense, visually at least, that they are armed with something more automatic like the Sturmgewehr. So that's cool to see. Do note it's just entirely visual, which I think will confuse a few people. But anyway, we have the Volksgrenadiers moving out here to secure some territory for Germany. Grenadiers coming up behind. Meanwhile, the Jägers are moving northwards. Even called in some Fallschirmjäger Pioneers. Good to see the more unique units being used here by the Jäger Tactics. But I think the Germans are gonna lack in vehicles late game. But no, they actually aren't, because the Jäger actually gets access to the Panther. So they're actually not gonna have issues late game with vehicles. Looks like the Sturmgrenadiers are gonna try and flank around here. Throwing splintering grenades. A German hand grenade that's been added with a fragmentation sleeve. Potent little thing. And looks like the Volksgrenadiers and Grenadiers are going to engage the Americans down here shortly. Yeah, you can see they're actually using their Sturmgewehrs as like a burst fire weapon, which is pretty cool. I actually really like that change. It just looks more interesting on the Volksgrenadiers. Oh, and the Kugelwagen is being very aggressive up here on the British troops. They might have to pull back.
A new infantry section is ready for battle.
That grenade might just have saved them, though, because the Kugelwagen is going to take a while to turn around. And yeah, looks like that actually just have saved those British troops. Very nice. Looks like the Americans are going for US Airborne. Okay, so we have airborne troops on the field now. And while we have the Sturmgewehrs and the Grenadiers working together here, the Volksgrenadiers with the Sturmgewehrs rather.
Listen up, fellas.
German SS troops are have secured the north up here though. Yeah, they did lose their Fallschirm Pioneers though, but they're getting an MG-44. Mortar coming up for the United States. Armed with paratrooper squad, with paratrooper units, as happens when you're playing as the US Airborne. Vertical got in before they became airborne though, so that's not an airborne squad holding it. And the Sturmgrenadiers here are going to be quite a menace, I think. Especially with the Kugelwagen as support. But they have a very good defensive position there. Tank hunters coming up though, there's a smoke we cannot see at the moment. They'll definitely want to try and take out that Kugelwagen. Oh my. Yeah, hiding and waiting. So is the Kugelwagen, it's waiting in ambush. And there we go, Kugelwagen gone. Good shot there from the boys anti-tank rifle. And while the Germans are pushing up on the other flank here. Oh, good shot from the Grenadiers. More Grenadiers are pushing up. Volksgrenadiers are coming back to the front line. American mortar might be in trouble here. Yeah, the Grenadiers might be in trouble here because the Americans are getting too close. They're gonna try to do a fire grenade on the mortar. Didn't kill the guy apparently. Meanwhile, the MG-44 is keeping the British troops at bay. Looks like the boys AT squad is down. Yeah, it looks like it went down. That's bad. That means the Germans could actually repair that Kugelwagen and use it again.
Threatening a capture point.
Well, the British still control the fuel in at the current point. Okay. But that might change shortly. That's an MT-42 now coming in for the Germans. There's a penal squad manning it, which is a unique thing if you're playing as a Staff Division. A lot of your weapons crews are actually penal troops. We also have a lieutenant coming in here for the Wehrmacht. Basic officer on the front line. Dickers arriving for the British. Still no... Oh, we're seeing an airborne fire team coming out now. We've mostly just been seeing American riflemen on the field.
God damn it! Someone get us out of here!
The lieutenant has been targeted here by American riflemen. He's only a 3-man squad, so he should be careful. He's being armed with a flamethrower. That's a unique upgrade I think only he can get because he's tough. But when Grenadier support, I think he'll be able to hold that position with the artillery as well. Dickers machine gun's gonna set up here, I imagine. He's using the old destroyed truck here.
There's an officer awaiting orders.
We also have a universal carrier arriving with a British lieutenant.
The front line could be lit up shortly.
British lieutenants seem to arrive by as call-ins and brain carriers, I've noticed. Which is a neat little thing for the British. He's also a 5-man squad, so he's a fully competent combat unit.
Universal carrier ready for the off.
But the Americans still need to secure the fuel down here, and the fuel up there is still in German hands, but there's actually no one there to stop the British if they move in. They could move in with the universal carrier, actually, and sit on it while they're being shot at. But I guess they might have other plans. Looks like we are getting time on target barrage for the mortars here. As the British lieutenant prepares to move up. Oh, we're seeing a Vickers Go being armed on the brain carrier. The Vickers K is essentially a very powerful machine gun for the British. About the same fire rate as an MT-42, so pretty fast. Australia's back to the front line. It's kind of cool seeing them with their Sturmgewehrs though. That is a nice little touch, I think.
Extra munitions can be delivered to your forces.
Universal carrier pushing up here.
For action.
We also have a Untersturmführer present for the Jägers. The unique thing with the officers, if you're playing as Jäger, is they can all infiltrate and stealth. But that did not really work out for them that well this time by the looks of it. Yeah, that MT-34 is just causing trouble. Will the brain carrier get out of there though? Looks like it will.
You have orders.
We also have a 2-1 in the field here for the Wehrmacht. And tank destroyers in the field, or tank Panzerjägers rather, my bad. Tank hunters in English, if you want to be exact.
Go ahead. Standing by.
American mortar nearby. Also the airborne fire team is present. 2-1 is getting its autocannon shortly. Which we only ever see. We don't ever actually see it just keep the MT-42 and just get expert gunnery. I guess people really like the autocannon, which I don't really blame them. The autocannon is pretty powerful, especially at range.
You found something?
Tube ready.
222.
There it goes. Just needs Radpanzer, which it does not have at the moment. Yeah, look at the autocannon just tearing through the Americans there. That Brennan carrier is definitely going to be in trouble if the 222 decides to go for it. We also have forward assembly set up by the British. Americans need to be careful because I think that 222 is going to come around here. Using an anti-tank rifle grenade. Good shot right then, the rear damaging the engine. That's gonna make it easier to kill. There is also an American AT gun on the field. But 222 is still in a good position here. I don't think the AT gun is gonna be there in time. More AT grenades coming in. Immobilizing the 222 and destroying its gun. It's a vulnerable target now. Smoke barrage going in for the British here, and they're ordering a charge. So the Brits are going to take this fuel back, I imagine. 2-2 is down. But there's no machine gun here. The machine gun has been pulled back to heal. But there is a fire for effect being called in here. Means the British have to move out of this circle quickly. They just seem to be doing so smart on them. Good to see the Brits are actually being very mobile here. The lieutenant is giving them a lot of support. Apparently they're getting the idealism modifier. Is that what the lieutenant gives? That seems like a little bit of a mistake, but I'm not sure how to create new modifiers for them. So
Ready to set a command vehicle.
might be very hard. So they just copied the Untersturmführer one. No, they were debuffed because the Untersturmführer debuffs enemy infantry. That's right. That's what it does. I wonder what the hell the lieutenant does then. Gewehr 43s have been armed on the Grenadiers. We're actually seeing no Straff units, which is nice, which is an interesting way of playing Straff. I like it. We're also seeing German military police. Unfortunately, I only think the Kettenhunde only affect Straff troops. I don't think they affect normal German infantry at all. They've been armed with the MP40I. Nice to see. Much more historical loadout for them, I think. I actually don't think they were armed much with the STGs at all. They were mostly armed with MP44s. And then MT42, strangely enough, according to what I read. Wonder why they give military police MT42s, I guess as a blocking motion, in case there was deserters. We also have some SS Fallschirmjägers present, already have been armed with the FT42, no surprise there. FT42 is a really good gun, and we're seeing double SS Fallschirmjäger. So the airborne SS is going to be on the field today. Mines being laid on the front line here by the sappers. But the British have their fuel point back. We'll see a Valentine coming out. Oh, American forward encampment set up by the airborne. 50 cal and airborne lieutenant on the field. Airborne officers only 3 man, but they're really good. Also, the airborne commander's buffs can stack a lot, I think. If 50% increase the accuracy, wow, that is pretty damn good.
Hey men, stand by. Knock it off and listen up.
Also, Thompsons have been armed on the American riflemen. Unique thing you can give them if you're playing as airborne. It's a 20-round magazine one. Yeah, those Kettenhunde might be a little bit over their head here. Yep, and the military police is down.
Our brave infantry is dying.
You need troops to support your officers. Unless your officers are combat units, but these guys aren't. The Thompsons are really paying off here.
We have lost the squad.
We have Sicherungstruppen being called in. And also some of them are also actually dying. Sicherungstruppen are basically real-line defensive troops for the Wehrmacht that are meant to secure the supply lines and the infrastructure behind the army. So having them at the front line is a little bit suspicious. And it shows that the German army is not in the best position at the moment. But double SS Fallschirmjäger, that's really potent because these Fallschirmjägers are really strong infantry. But here comes the little armored assault. I think the brain carrier might go down though. Yep. Panzerfaust took care of them. But there's little else here to stop them. Oh my god, these guys are just hiding, but they might not have to. They cannot stay there for long, I think.
Anti-tank gun has taken the field.
Only one Sicherungstruppen left. Sicherungstruppen. Germans seem to be getting a little bit on the back foot right now. Yeah, seeing the Kampfkraft center up. Oh, no upgrades from it yet, no. British forces are starting to overrun this farm. Only a Storm Grenadier and a Storm Pioneer is holding it at the moment. They have been armed with scope Sturmgewehrs by the looks of it. Also MP40s of the Storm Pioneers here. Valentine is moving up. And I think the Grenadiers are going to get out of there when they see that because they are afraid of a Willy Pete shot or a high explosive shot. But the Pack 40 is present. Good shot, destroying the Valentine. More American riflemen with that Thompson's coming up here. A2 Sherman coming up behind as well.
The enemy is taking our territory.
Yeah, German position seems to be a little bit of a jeopardy. We do see LMG 34s with one of the rounds being out of the Grenadiers. Unique thing you can give them if you're playing a stuff. Really good upgrade, I think. The MG34 is often underestimated when it really shouldn't be. People always go for the MG42 when they see it, rather than the MG34. But both are really good machine guns, don't underestimate. And 100 rounds can really make a difference. American riflemen are providing a little bit of trouble here. Fire for effect going into the SS positions they haven't noticed yet. Now I'm of the opinion that the fire for effect as they are currently don't really make a lot of sense.
Stocks of better grenades are being made available to the infantry.
I'd rather see it become something else, but I'm not sure how fire for effect would even operate. I'm not one who designs this kind of stuff for gameplay stuff, so my opinions are pretty invalid in all honesty. I don't know what I'm doing. Looks like the Waffen-SS have already ticked up. It looks like they might be going for an early Panther if they can. The Panther, the Jaeger is very powerful. It can actually be armed with the infrared optics, which is a unique thing to Jaeger. A2 Sherman coming up here. But those Grenadiers gonna stick around for long. Indeed, they're pulling back. Sicherungsturm being armed with LMG-42 with 100 rounds. Now that is a very powerful thing for the Sicherungsturm to have. That can make them really good at holding a position. Looks like another brain carrier went down here. Lieutenant is trying to operate here. Oh, he gives them a... What did he give them? He gives them side radius? Okay. That'd be the best thing, but I suppose it's useful. White Phosphorus barrage going in here. Only surprised that no one died to the White Phosphorus. Oh, now they're dying. That pack gun is being burned to a crisp. Except I think it's operating like the vanilla White Phosphorus, which means it doesn't actually kill, but reduces you to like no health. Which is honestly a little bit silly, but I understand why it does that, because White Phosphorus is some pretty nasty stuff. I think the Sicherungsturm might not survive here long. Oh, good shot with the Panzerbüchse there, immobilizing the German. And they got a Beutepanzer T-44 coming in. Beutepanzer essentially being a term used for tanks that the Germans have essentially captured from other armies and are essentially utilizing on their own in a different combat role, because the Germans really did utilize a lot of others' equipment if they could. Because they need a lot of equipment, I'd imagine. Simply because they didn't really have a lot of stuff to match the industrial prowess of the other factions. I think the T-54 is going to get a good shot in the Sherman. Yep, good penetration right there. Now the Beutepanzer switching to high explosive, but bad timing because there's another Sherman. I'm pretty sure the Beutepanzers were utilized by the Germans as some kind of essentially assault tank for infantry support. Even added extra armor you can actually give it there. Germans modified the Beutepanzers quite intensely. You have an Ostwind, which I'm still of the opinion only certain commanders should get, simply because the Ostwind was relatively rare. Now Jaeger is in a weird spot because they generally are using a lot of rare equipment. Oh, okay. Ostwind is again showing that it's a little bit ridiculous. How the hell did that even bounce a shot from an anti-tank gun? Because that is not very armored, I think. What do you want to judge? It only has 500 armor. That must be really lucky then. Beutepanzer is still providing a little bit of an advantage for Germans. They might actually make a push with it. Now that it's armed with high explosive, it'll tear through these American infantry. Yep, and there's an airborne squad down. They did not anticipate a T-44. I imagine very few do on the Western Front. And there goes the 50 cal as well. It's a very good utilization of the Beutepanzer right there.
Grenadier squad is ready.
Meanwhile, we're seeing more grenadiers come onto the field.
Skiing was dangerous. That's almost funny now.
Now the T-34 is going to have to deal with an M10.
Capture point is
The Allies just need sight. Yep, M10 missed. M10 is armed with the 3-inch gun, I believe, which is the biggest anti-tank on the Americans have access to. It has no anti-infantry capability apart from a high explosive shot, though. I believe only a tank destroyer and airborne get access to the M10, so that's at least something. It's holding a high explosive on those Sicherungstruppen. And there goes the Sicherungstruppen entirely.
The capture point is being overrun. Prepared for action.
What are the British? Oh, okay. We have a Churchill coming in for the British. Okay. We have a Mark IV. That's a very good infantry support tank. And I think because they only have an Ostwind, they do have double Panzerjägers though, so they are ready to try and deal with the Churchill. The Churchill is pretty impressively armored, so it's gonna be hard to deal with. At least it's not a Mark VI. The Mark VI is absolutely ridiculous.
The weapon crew are, I'm afraid, quite dead.
German on the flank here still threatening the T-34. The T-34 needs to be very careful. Grenadiers have picked up a Panzerstrike evidently. Ostwind and Fallschirmjägers pushing up.
Contact! Heavy machine gun! Mine damage!
Yeah, lots of mines there preventing the Germans from actually moving up effectively. Ostwind again just threatening the machine gun, killing them entirely. Ostwind can be a pretty powerful weapon. For some reason, but it's actually meant to be an anti-air weapon. But it will have trouble against the Churchill. If the Churchill could hit, that is. The Churchill is very slow, so that's a thing.
Upgrade finished. Very handy.
We also have a captain here for the British. Was the Fallschirmjägers got killed by a mine. That minefield has been pretty lethal. Also looks like a fuel airdrop is going into the British base. Probably to help them tear up for another vehicle, or get another vehicle rather. Oh, M10 took a big shot there. I believe it was referred to as the Wolverine as a nickname. I'm not sure the Americans ever used that name. It might have been someone else. The British often actually gave nicknames to vehicles. It might have been the British. No, I believe the British called it the Achilles. So many different nicknames.
Squad ready for action.
Regardless, the Church is going to move up here, and I don't think the Germans have a lot at the moment, apart from the Panzerschrecks. Panzerjägers are moving up here, that's very dangerous. Of course, because they're out in the open. A good penetration, though. They need one more Panzerschreck shell to hit. It didn't penetrate! I mean, that the Churchill is so far uncontested. Took out the gunner under Ostwind there. It has a bigger score on the top now too. So this thing has a lot of anti-infantry capability. Oh shit, it's been immobilized by a German airstrike. By strafe one of autocannons. Its armor did hold up though. Second Churchill is being prepared behind us. And while the Americans are doing a push in the German position, the Wehrmacht position. Thanks to the Panzerschreck though, I don't think that'll last for long. And the T-34 is still holding on. US Air Force is strafing though with 50 cals. Looks like it's coming around for another run. Destroying the roof of the forward headquarters. But the American plane did get shut down. Smoke shield going in on the pack there to buy the Churchill some time.
Ready.
Tank commander awaiting next orders.
More 50 cals coming in and completely destroying the forward headquarters. There's the US Air Force is being very busy today. That's a 3-inch gun. That should be the same one as on the M10. Oh, the M10 actually went down? So it did. Looks like the T-34 armor is actually holding up at the moment. Ah, the Churchill went down. Pretty big loss, but a second Churchill is coming in, I think. Yep, another Churchill Mark IV. He is going for Vanguard operations, so we might see a Churchill Mark VI at some point. Or Mark V, if we're lucky. Although I think the Mark V might actually be a call-in from the forward assembly, which has been destroyed, unfortunately.
Heavy tank awaiting orders.
But the Mark IV is a very potent infantry support tank.
Losing a capture point.
Americans are slowly taking some territory, though. The Germans have had... The Wehrmacht has had to pull back. They are getting a Panzer IV-H behind this. Ostwind is being repaired. We also have a Sturmbannführer available for the Jägers at the moment. Being upgraded with Condor bombing runs. Okay. And the Panther is finally being prepared. The Panther is going to be a problem for the Allies to deal with, I imagine. Especially if utilized correctly. The Panther has a lot of frontal armor. More frontal armor than a Tiger, actually, for those wondering. Oh, that guy almost got killed by the high explosive, and then he got destroyed by the machine gun afterwards. The Wehrmacht has definitely lost a lot of their units. Ostwind again pushing up, being very aggressive. It's weird being so aggressive with an anti-aircraft unit. Over penetration. And this Sherman is also trying to hunt it down.
Officer, ready to be deployed.
It is weird though seeing Ostwinds being used as anti-infantry weapons when they were an anti-air weapon. They were also so rare. I would not have risked losing them like that. And here come the British again with their Churchill. Oh, good penetration there from the Stuck. High explosive going in. Oh, and the Panzerschreck destroyed the gun. The Churchill might have to pull back here. But the Panther's coming. And that goes. The British have lost a lot of their units here. It's not looking good here for the Allies. Well, actually, they have taken a lot of territory, but I think with the Panther, the Germans might have the means to push back.
Standing by. Send orders.
It's already been given the infrared optics, which seems to be a very, very good upgrade. 25% increased accuracy is pretty damn good.
Upgrade completed.
More fuel airdropped into the British base. Wonder what Churchill they might be aiming for. Might they be going for the Churchill Mark VII? And the Crocodile is definitely a good call, but it's very expensive. So they're going for a Comet, okay. The Comet has a really good gun. It has a 17-pounder designed to fit inside its turret. So it might actually be able to deal with some things. Just the pack has been crewed here by some American troops. And there are some AT guns scattering around the front line here. Keeping an eye on any German tank movement. Heavy mortar coming in here for the Staff Division. It's actually basically the same mortar that the Soviets used. It's the exact same one, actually. The Germans just really liked it and basically copied it immediately after they encountered it. Artillery going in on the Panther. Looks like it's white phosphorus.
Regiment advises. Infantry ready to utilize breakthrough tactics.
American troops are still scattered across the front line here.
Incoming fire! Enemy is flanking!
Comet with a sextant behind it. Okay, so we're also getting a sextant. But the Comet is about to hit the field just as the Panther is preparing to move forwards again. Now, what's going to win, a Comet or a Panther? That's a really hard choice one, because the Panther definitely has one in the armor department.
Crew, get ready.
And even in the gun department. I think the Comet is going to be very hard pressed to deal with the Panther. When he's using the Ostwind to just hit behind the building. Oh. The Ostwind is kinda good at ground fire, evidently. Perhaps a bit too good, in my opinion.
Enemy causing trouble, trying to take one of our points.
Oh, Comet did not penetrate, that's bad. Comet has to pull back at this. Sexton is on the field though, providing some artillery support for the British. But the British have lost so much at this point, I don't think it's gonna work out. Yeah, the Comet has to pull back for repairs, I think. You cannot do this when its gunner is injured. Or loader is injured, I think. Yeah, main loader is injured.
Ready. All ship shape and Bristol fashion.
Sexton is opening fire. He's scavenging, good to see. A good ability that the German pioneers, the Storm Pioneers, have access to. It means you can scavenge some equipment for some resources.
Comet tank ready and waiting. Somebody's trying to poke holes in my tank.
Panther's gonna take a shot here. That Comet has to be very careful. You also have the American Major present. He is ready to call in some rocket strafes, I think. He's actually been ordered to hold fire, so he is definitely waiting. Oh! Panther got immobilized from an artillery shell from the Sexton. Its front is, however, turned in a very decent location, I think. The artillery is actually very good for stopping heavier tanks in their tracks, because it'll blow the tracks off, so really handy. Rocket run. No, that's not a rocket run, I think. That's why first has been called on the Ostwind. But those tracks need to be repaired quickly because it hasn't lost a lot of HP. Second Panther is being prepared though, so... Second Comet though, okay! This is gonna be fascinating if that tank battle lasts any longer. High explosive being called in on the heavy mortar here from the pack. Hit the mortar but didn't kill anyone, that's weird. Awkward. US airstrike coming in here. There might be 50 cals. There are 50 caliber shots coming in. But Americans are losing a lot of troops to the MT-34s. Stu 42 in the fields. Basically, it's a Stu with a howitzer on top instead of a normal gun. That's the assault artillery going in here. So not good for all those officers that are planning in one area.
Gun you ordered is ready.
Yep, that's bad. And there we go. The Allies surrender after that. I suppose it is kinda a hard position to get back from. I hope you all enjoyed. And I'll see you all in the next one, everyone. Bye bye.